What is up, beautiful people? It's your girl Cam, and I am back with another video. Today I'm coming at you with something brand new to my channel and something very different. I am going to start sharing with you my reading list and book reviews here on my channel. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I love books and I love to read. So I really wanted to start sharing with you more of what's inside my planner. I know I show my planner on this channel a lot, but I really want to start showing more of what's inside my planner and how I'm using my planner in my everyday life. So if this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome, welcome. I hope you find some inspiration here and that you will consider hitting that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of the fun right here on this channel. If you are already a part of the fam, welcome back. So for my very first book-related video, I'm going to share with you my summer reading list, part 1 for 2020. And the reason I'm going to have to do this in parts is because of COVID and how businesses are having to change their practices in their warehouses and how they ship and how they operate inside their stores. So things are a little different, and my books are coming in drips and drabs as opposed to everything coming in all at once. So this will be my very first book list, my reading list for the summer, and this will be part 1, and I'm going to share with you the books that I have in right now and the ones that I am going to read for this summer. So if you want to see my book list for this summer, just stick around. Okay, so I want to get started by sharing with you some books that are on my summer reading list that I have already read back in June, because I want you to get a full picture of what I'm reading, and I want to document my full summer reading list here on this channel. So let's start with what I've already read. Okay, let's do it. The first book is The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And this book was part of the Oprah's Book Club, and I'm going to give you a good picture of the cover. But this is The Water Dancer. It is a book about a young man named Hiram Walker, who is an enslaved African, and his ability, he has this specific gift, and this book is about whether or not he can use this gift to free himself and those that he loves. It is a historical fiction, and it is sci-fi fantasy, because there are some elements of fantasy and science fiction in this book. And we do meet the great Harriet Tubman inside this book. So this is one of the first books that I finished reading this summer, The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And I will come back and do a review of this one in a separate video. Okay, next, another book that I've already finished reading for this summer is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I mentioned in a previous video that I'm kind of embarrassed about how long it took me to finish reading this book. That doesn't mean this book was not excellent. It really is an excellent book. I just prefer fiction over nonfiction. So I did finish reading this one, I think about a week ago, and I will come back and give you my review of this book as well. It is, of course, about First Lady Michelle Obama, her autobiography, her life, growing up in Chicago, her education, and becoming First Lady of America, and as a working mom, how she made adjustments in her life and in her marriage to make things work. So it really is a very good book, and also all the things that she was able to accomplish while President Obama was in office. So this was the second book. I started this book in December of 2018, the year that it came out, and I just finished it a couple weeks ago. But that's no indictment on whether or not this book is good. I just prefer fiction over nonfiction. But I will come back and do a review of this one, Becoming Michelle Obama. Okay, next is The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abi Dare, and I just finished this one last night. And wow, this book is so amazingly good. It is fiction, and it is set in Nigeria, and it's written by a Nigerian woman, Abby Dare, and it is the story of a 14-year-old girl who is sold into marriage by her father for money because they are having trouble paying their bills and making ends meet in a small village in Nigeria. And when I tell you that this book is so well written, so full of adventure, so full of just heart-wrenching trials that this young girl goes through, but so good, such a rich, rich novel to read. I love reading novels that are set in Africa. I have a lot of things that I like, a lot of different categories of books that I like, but reading novels about people who live in Africa and giving a full picture of the African culture and the way the people live and move and what they eat and how they speak, I love that. So that is really a lot of what The Girl with the Louding Voice is about, and I will come back and give this book a proper full review, but this is next on my summer reading list, The Girl with the Louding Voice, Abby Dare. Okay, now we're going to get into the books that I have not read yet that are on my TBR list. Okay, so let's go. First is my very first graphic novel called Kindred. And this one is an adaptation of the original novel by Octavia Butler, which I have read years ago, and I absolutely loved it. So really I was curious about the graphic novel adaptation of such a great book. I really wanted to see what these adaptation authors could do with that great work by Octavia Butler, and would it be true to the real original novel, or would they make some major changes? So that's why I picked this one up, because I really did enjoy Kindred the novel when I read it several years ago, maybe back in 2015, 16, I'm not sure when the original one came out, but I did read it when it came out, and I want to see what the graphic novel version is going to be like. So this one is by Damian Duffy and John Jennings, and this is the very first book that I'm going to read next in my summer reading list, and it is a comic book, basically. I'll just give you a little flip through here. So it is a graphic novel, like a comic book version of an original novel. So this one is a science fiction, and it is about a woman who travels back in time from present day to the antebellum period. So I'm interested to see how they're going to adapt this novel by Octavia Butler. So that's the first one on my list. I'm going to start this one tomorrow, Monday, July 6th. Okay, Kindred, the graphic novel version. Okay, next I'm going to show you a couple of books by one of my favorite authors of all time. And I think she's originally from North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, and it is Zora Neale Hurston. And so I have a couple of books on my summer reading list from her. So let's get into it. First is Barracoon, the story of the last black cargo. So from what I have read about this book, again, it is by Zora Neale Hurston. From what I've read about this book, this is a series of interviews that Zora Neale Hurston conducted with a man who was one of the last Africans to be brought over to the Americas and to be put into the institution of slavery. So this man experienced the Middle Passage, he experienced the auction block, he experienced the institution of slavery, and he experienced liberation and freedom as a black man in America. So he had the full picture of an experience of someone coming from Africa to America, being enslaved, and obtaining his freedom. And when I heard that, I was blown away by that. And I had to kind of do the math to make sure that this was actually possible for her to do. I think in 1938 is when this book was originally, when the interviews were originally documented. And it does line up that he was in his 40s when she interviewed him, I believe. But I haven't read it yet, so I don't know all the details on it. But that is the basic premise of this book, interviewing this man who was the last cargo in the slave trade. So that's called Barracoon by Zora Neale Hurston. I cannot wait to read this one, y'all. This is like right up my alley right here. Barracoon, Zora Neale Hurston. And I will come back and do a review of this one later. And next by Zora Neale Hurston is Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crooked Stick. Now, if you are familiar with Zora Neale Hurston, you know that she writes in a very thick dialect most of the time. And for some people, that's very off-putting because they can't get used to the dialect that she's writing in. I personally love it. I love Zora Neale Hurston's writing, and I think because she went to college in North Carolina, and she's kind of a homegirl to me in my mind, that I just take my time and really get into reading her books. So this is a collection of short stories by Zora Neale Hurston, and I cannot wait to get into it and find out what all these short stories are going to be about. I know they're going to be good because Zora has a great way of storytelling and bringing the characters right off the page into your lap, into your living room, and she makes you fall in love with these different people, or hate them if necessary. But she's a really awesome writer, and I cannot wait to read this book, Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crooked Stick, Zora Neale Hurston. Next on my list is a novel called The Nickel Boys, and this one is written by Colson Whitehead, and it is a novel, and it is about an orphanage from what I recall. And I don't know a whole lot of details about it, but I have seen some great reviews of this book here on YouTube. So let's see if we can read a little bit about it. Okay, so this book is about boys in the civil rights era at the Nickel Academy. And I don't know a whole lot more about it than that, but I have heard some very good reviews of this book here on YouTube. And I know that I've heard it's a very tough read, and that there are some situations that the boys go through that are very hard to read. But that does not make me shy away from a good book. I don't think that all books have to be happy and or have a happy ending for them to be good reading. Sometimes we need to walk in somebody else's shoes for a few minutes to understand their situation and to develop more empathy for people who don't look like us or who don't come from the same background that we come from. So I'm excited to read The Nickel Boys, and I did read in the cover, in the dust cover, that this is a follow-up book to a book called The Underground Railroad, for which Colson Whitehead won a Pulitzer Prize. So I did have The Underground Railroad in my cart to order just yesterday, and so I may actually read that book first before I read this one. But if I decide to do that, I'll come back and let you guys know that I'm going to put a pause in this list and insert The Underground Railroad, especially if this is a follow-up. So yeah, but I do want to tell you I am going to read The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead, and it is about the Nickel Academy during the Civil Rights period. Next, I'm going to add a series of children's books into my rotation for my reading for this year. I have a collection of children's books where the main character is a black child, part of a black family, and that is really something that I love. I love to see books that have reflections of me and my family on the inside of them. So books about children of color, black children, and I love to see their hairstyles and their clothes, and read about their family dynamic. And this book is called Honey, I Love. It's a book of poems by Eloise Greenfield, and I have read this before, but I'm going to add it to my rotation to read this summer as well. So I'm going to add more children's books, and as I add them, I will put those in my part 2 of my summer reading list. Alright, so that's going to do it for me. I'm so excited to get started on this journey, bringing more books and literature to my channel. You know, this channel is called Piece of the Plans, and it's, you know, peace because my last name is Shalom, which means peace, but it's also piece of the plans in terms of there are lots of different pieces to my life. And so reading is a very big part of my life, and I've kind of put it to the side for a while, but I'm ready to revive it and breathe some new life into it and share it here with you on this channel. So I hope that you will come with me on this journey, and I hope that you enjoyed this video sharing with you my summer reading list part 1, and I will come back with a part 2 as soon as more of my books start coming in the mail. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. If you're not already a part of the Piece of the Plans fam, I hope you'll take a moment and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of the fun right here on this channel. If you're already a part of the fam, I thank you so much and thank you for coming back. Now I hope that you are getting into some good reading and some good books this summer. If you are, please let me know down in the comments section. Give me a couple of books that you're planning on reading this summer. I would love to know. Get some good recommendations from you all. I hope that your week is full of love, joy, and most of all, peace. I'll see you next time.